Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Kendra here. Today I'm going to share with you a few different ideas for uses of self-striping yarn. Hey everybody, thanks so much for coming back. Before we jump into the video, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who has come to watch my videos or subscribe to my channel. We have hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for being here. To celebrate, I want to have a virtual knit night and I want to invite all of you to come to bring your knitting. It'll be like a live stream here on YouTube where we can chat, have a little bit of back and forth, maybe a topic to discuss, and yeah, just pretend we're here in person and have a little hangout. So if you're anything like me, I was knitting socks all winter long and I really enjoyed using all my self-striping yarn to do so. Now that it's warmer out, I'm not wearing my wool socks quite as much and I'm ready to move on to some other projects, but I still have some yarn that's really tempting to use. For example, this is the yarn that I dyed with Kool-Aid. I made a video on the process of dyeing this yarn and I've just been waiting to knit something up. I was really thinking of making something for my daughter and I've been exploring different ideas and I thought I'd do kind of like a little roundup of a few suggestions of things and some projects I came across that looked like cool uses for striping yarn. One thing that seemed pretty regular across the board in searching on Ravelry is using self-striping yarn for hats. And part of that is just the circumference. The only one I've done this for is this little dolly hat. This is the only little hat I have actually made. However, if you look on Ravelry, there's so many options and projects out there. I think it's a really good use for self-striping yarn. I'm going to try to link all the projects I mentioned in the description box, so if you are interested in seeing more pictures or reading about it, please check it out there. A second idea is to use your self-striping yarn for some baby or child toys. There's a few patterns specifically that I've seen repeatedly use these types of yarns and that only take a small amount of a fingering weight yarn, so it could be a really good option if you have kind of leftovers after doing your socks to put the rest into making a baby toy. Another option is to use the striping yarn for the yoke of a sweater. Now, if you think about using a striping yarn for a whole sweater, you have to think that the circumference is different. Say if you're doing a one-piece like top-down raglan, to have the yoke and then have the sleeves and the body, it's going to pool differently in each area. But by just using it in the yoke area, especially if they are longer gradients or if you're doing a child size, can be a really interesting use of these stripes. Another option is to do leg warmers or fingerless mittens or arm warmers or other things of that nature that are about the same circumference and will stripe it up the same. Another option is to use it for a little girl's skirt. There's a few really cute patterns and projects out there using it, and some of this will depend on how big or how wide the repeats are, if that makes sense. So if it's going to make a really thick stripe on your sock, it may be a good option when you have a larger diameter. Another thought is to alternate a rose with your stripe and a solid color. Now this can really work if you, again, you're doing like the yoke of a sweater or a child's project and you can keep your stripes a little bit more consistent that way, or at least break it up. So instead of doing small blocks of color, when you stretch that on a really wide round, you might not even get one round in, or you may get one or two. And so being able to stripe it with an alternate, so if you do like, say you have this skein and you stripe it in with a white, then it can really create an interesting look and break it up and create more of a subtle look rather than having really sharp pooling. Keep in mind that it will look more like pooling when it is in a really wide width, just because if it's not making at least a couple of rounds, it's not going to look very striped. You can always use your self-striping yarn for accessories or other small projects. I think what I have come to is that I'm going to be making a top-down tunic / long sleeved shirt. However, I'm going to be doing it with the striping just on the arms. Now it is going to take me paying attention a little bit, and I'm hoping just with the way that I piece it together to keep the number of rows in the striping the same, even though during the raglan part it will be different than working in the round. But here's my thoughts on how I'm going to do that. So this is a sweater. I actually wrote up the pattern and I put it on Ravelry, so if you're interested you can check it out. But quiet. There's obviously no striping in this, however you can see that it has the contrast color on these sleeves all the way up to the neckband. And that's what I'm going for, is to be able to do the striping all the way up. There are a lot of patterns on Ravelry I've seen that do it from this point where it attaches down, and that really is simpler. So if you don't mind the look, that's definitely an option, is to start your striping here, and then it's almost like a sock where you're just going around all the way through the sleeve. I really am planning on doing it tunic length and maybe putting like a little intarsia design or something on the front to keep it looking kind of cute. But yeah, I think it's going to work really well with this yarn as a sleeve. And I really like to do a gray, however I have a pink that kind of matches that I may be jumping for just because I already have it. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. Also, if you have been using self-striping yarn for things beyond just socks, please let me know what you are using it for. Share any patterns or ideas or projects that you have tried down in the comments. I'd love to read it, and I'm sure others would really like to hear from you as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember the live stream coming up on Sunday night. Leave me a comment down below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.